Hey guys, and welcome back to the Gaming Droid. So what are we going to purchase this time around? We've got an Archmage, so if we up our damage and our MP a little bit. Don't really want the Miner right now. We can unlock the Shinobi. Shinobi is one of my favourite classes, guys, especially for early game work. Shinobi is one of my favourite classes. Have we got enough to purchase anything? We have the Squire's chestplate, which is 9 armour, but we've not got enough money for that. We could purchase some limbs for some extra actually. We're a mage, let's grab some extra magic power. What rune did we pick up? We did pick up a rune last time, I wasn't looking. We picked up a sprint rune and a grace rune. Grace runes don't really do that much early on in the game, but later on in the game, once you've completed it, once you're on New Game Plus especially, it'll make a big difference to how you play the game. Because once you're on New Game Plus, the monsters from Area 2 become the monsters in Area 1, and everything becomes very difficult and nasty. What spells have we got? Ooh, we have axes, we have flame, and we have conflux. All three of these are actually going to be quite useful. Conflux is great for clearing out a room or for doing lots of damage to a small number of creatures in a room. If the room's the sort where conflux works, one with a nice open space where the balls will bounce backwards and forwards easily. Fire's quite good for confined spaces because it will produce a fireball around you. It does use up energy permanently, so while it's on it will use energy, but it also means that we get to run through things and do damage without fire, which is quite useful. An axe is very good for clearing out certain of the fairy chest rooms. Especially the more specific fairy chest rooms, the rooms where there's one where there's an arch of creatures. The only problem is I'm quite low on health already because I'm a mage, which means that I can't take too many hits without dying. At the moment I'm not using the mage's spells very much. I should really be using the mage's spells more because the mage has plenty of ways to regenerate her mana. And it's all about resource management, guys. There's no point being a mage and dying with 100 mana. You might as well spend the mana. Now this is actually quite a nasty rune, guys. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go like that and send off some conflux items. Killed another one. See if we can't get a few more things with our conflux. Ah, that was a nasty rune, guys. The Charite ended up getting me in the end. Ah well, it was worth a go. We've got a Dwarf Paladin with IBS, that just means you fart when you jump. There's no sound to it, there's just a puff of smoke. We've got Hypergonad, so we've got an Archmage with Time Stop as one of their spells. OCD and the ability to not get knocked back. We've got a Swearing Bald Barbarian Queen. It's not actually a bad pattern, a Swearing Bald. Paladins are very good though because they're nice and balanced, you do plenty of damage early on. Is Dwarf though, which means that it's got a short range, but it does have the Axe spell. I think we're going to go with Sekema II. As we're a paladin, and we have literally no money, we'll see if we can't purchase something useful. Nope. Can we get a cloak? Nope, we can't, which means that whatever we combine here, we're just going to buy. Hit points it is, and that brings us to exactly 0. There is a sound when you do. Wow, I did not realise there was a sound, but there is. Some of the traits in this can be a little bit weird. I disagree with the naming of some of the traits as well. There's a trait named Alzheimer's which makes you forget the map, which basically means that you have to do it without this map. And I don't like that. Oh, hello. I don't like the naming of that myself. But That's probably just me being picky. As you can see, the mage does 18, I do 36, which makes this far easier, especially in the early stages. But I have to remember that as I go through Castle Hammond, things are going to get more dangerous, and I might also meet Solix and things like that. It's all about knowing how the rooms are laid out and knowing where you need to go to get what you want and to kill off what you want to kill off without dying yourself. It is a lot of fun, guys. I do love this game. I'm going to wax on about it for a while. And we get a vault room. Not particularly useful. Getting additional vault rooms can help with some of the harder fairy rooms and things, but for the most part they're not the best room to be picking. Oh, holy crud! Crikey! Well then guys, that was one interesting room. And the bad guys are randomly generated, guys, within certain parameters there. I suppose they should be called procedurally generated, because Castle Hammond's always going to have Grey Knights, primarily, and only in special rooms is it going to have bigger things. Is it going to have the bigger knights like the Lord Baron and things? That was certainly an interesting room to just drop into. I almost checked my techies. So as I was saying, guys, in a previous video, I apologise if I ever introduce a video with the name The Learning... Oh god, again? Why again? With the name The Learning Droid. That is my other YouTube channel, which is not for gaming, it's for... I would say it's for learning, but it turned out it's actually for pyrography. In the end, that's what it's started to be used for, pretty much exclusively now. But that's okay. I enjoy that. It's another part of sort of my activities. If you ever want to see what I look like, I do some in-person things which are more than just my hands over on that channel. I am thinking of doing some other roguelite games. One of the problems is being a person who's new to YouTube without a very big following. It's hard to get permission to use games, so I have to go with games that have blanket permission. And here's one of the interesting things, guys. This painting gives you information about one of their previous games. In this case it's Band of Bears. I won't spoil that for you guys, you can find that and learn it yourself. But this can also be a boss, or a mini-boss monster, which is a giant portrait, which is exceedingly hard to kill. But the trick to finding out whether it's a mini-boss or an actual portrait, guys, and rather than just walking up to it and suddenly getting attacked, if there are two entrances to the room, it's an information portrait. If there's only one entrance to the room, it's gonna be a mini-boss. I mean, I have once found one entrance room with a mini-portrait with information, but if it's got one entrance to the room, guys, likelihood is it's a mini-boss. So, additional care to be used. There's no point trying to kill those off. Does this go down to castle? Yep. And this is how the game goes, guys. It's seeing how far you can get, and Sir Kema II is doing reasonably well. He's not the most successful knight in the world, but he doesn't mind. He is happy knowing that his family will be well cared for when he's gone. I'll just see what I can do to finish this off. I'm sorry about that, guys. My recording software is... because I'm unemployed at the moment, I'm using free access recording software. Which means that occasionally, when I've been recording for too long, it says, please pay. And I say, I can't yet. I will buy it once I get a job, guys. And then I'll have less interrupts in my videos. I try to keep the interrupts to a minimum, guys, by keeping an eye on the time. But sometimes it gets away from me when I'm killing things. I mean, I do like roguelite games, guys. A long time ago, before I started playing them regularly, I used to think roguelite games were a real waste of time because there was no distinct progression to them. There was no element where, oh, you're more powerful because you put time into it. Once you completed the game, or once you completed a run, the power levels all got reset and things. But later on I sort of realised that actually no, as long as you're having fun, it doesn't matter that there isn't progression. And that's the thing, guys. Games are all about having fun, especially for me. I'm one of these people who thinks that games are fun. That's what they're for. And if you're not having fun with a game, then it's either not a game or it's not worth it. At least not worth it for you. So I used to play World of Warcraft, and I realised after a while that I just wasn't having fun with World of Warcraft anymore. I should have turned my Steam off. 1 second, guys. I will just turn my Steam off. Sorry about that, guys. So, that's a little dwarf hole, but there's nothing in it. It's just a little one to help you bypass if the room's a little bit too difficult. That's the thing, dwarves, they recognise that dwarves are quite hard to play because of the small sword. And that's actually why giants are one of the really easy ones to play. The giant sword with a giant, especially if you can get a giant shinobi. If you can get a giant shinobi, you can pretty much own any boss at all. And that's actually really cool. Shinobis do so much base damage, and the giant sword means you gain such easy access. 1, 2, 3. Ah, worth a go. I was trying to practice my down strikes then. But the Shinobi does so much base damage, and you gain such easy access to hitting the boss because of the giant size with a giant Shinobi, that it's often very much worth taking a giant Shinobi just to do boss rooms. A lot of people say that some of the best classes for bosses are things like mages because of the magic spells they have access to, but in my personal opinion, if you want to beat a boss, grab a giant Shinobi. And don't worry about putting any effort into getting critical strikes, because you can't. Ooh, it's one of these rooms. Ah, dang it. Little guy floating past in the background. I do love that on this set of levels, is just the little background bits and pieces. And I can no longer one-shot things. Oh no, I'm gonna die. Let's see where our little hobbit hole takes us. Takes us out the bottom. Which isn't too bad. I also like seeing how many things I can kill. One of the things that there's sort of a bit of an argument about in a way with this game is whether vampirism runes, or specifically whether blood armour is worthwhile. Because blood armour takes away 30 hit points, but gives you 1 vampirism, which gives you 2 hit points every time you kill something. As long as you're killing over 15 bad guys after you take damage, then vampirism armour is worth it, blood armour is worth it. So guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you again next time.